Hi there, I'm Byron Nilsson, Artistic Director of the Glen Conservancy Concert Series, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the third event in our pandemic live stream series. And for this one, we're delighted to welcome back Dan Berggren, who performed for us several years ago. I want to note that this concert is made possible by a generous grant from Saratoga Arts, aided by the New York State Council on the Arts, and with the support of Governor Andrew Cuomo and the New York State Legislature. I can get that out. And so with that in mind, and with this live stream now, as far as I can determine, successfully underway, let me turn over the mics and cameras to Dan Berggren.
Come, all ye jolly good fellows, and listen to my song. It's all about them shanty boys, and it won't take me long. For it's now that I regret the day while working out in the cold. Save your money while you're young, me boys, you'll need it when you're old. For once I was a shanty boy, and wasn't I a lad? And the way I spent my money now, wasn't it too bad? And it's now that I regret the day while working out in the cold. Save your money while you're young, me boys, you'll need it when you're old. And if you are a married man, I'll tell you what to do. Be good to your wife and family as you have sworn to do. Stay away from all grog shops where liquor is bought and sold. Save your money while you're young, me boys, you'll need it when you're old. Oh, once I was a shanty boy, and wasn't I a lad? And the way I spent my money now, wasn't it too bad? And it's now that I regret the day while working out in the cold. Save your money while you're young, me boys, you'll need it when you're old. And we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. Once more a lumberin' go, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. Ye mighty sons of freedom, who round the mountains roam, come all ye gallant lumber boys, and listen to my song. From the banks of the sweet Saranac, where its limpid waters flow, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. Once more a lumberin' go, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. To the music of our axes, we'll make the woods resound, while many a tall and lofty pine comes tumbling to the ground. At night around our good campfire we'll sing while cold winds blow, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. Once more a lumberin' go, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. You can talk about your parties and your plays, but pity us, poor lumber boys go jouncing on our sleighs. And we ask no better pastime than to hunt the buck and doe, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. Once more a lumberin' go, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. When winter it is over, and the icebound streams are free, we'll drive our logs to Glens Falls, and we'll haste our girls to sea. With plenty to eat and plenty to drink, back to the woods we'll go, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. Once more a lumberin' go, and we'll range the wildwoods over, and once more a lumberin' go. Well, I always like to begin with some traditional music from the Adirondacks. Save your money while you're young, me boys. I heard Cecil Butler sing that, and a few others. And Once More a Lumberin' Go is probably the most famous song of the Adirondacks, at least with those lyrics, because a song like that was sung from Maine to Michigan. All the lumberjacks had to do was change the name of the river, change the name of the guy they were working for, or who their cook might be, that they want to poke some fun at. And that could be a Maine folk song, it could be an Adirondack folk song, it could be a Michigan folk song. And I did hear Save Your Money While You're Young, Me Boys, sung by a Canadian. So there were many French Canadians who came across the border to work in the woods of the Adirondacks. Even though I grew up in the Adirondacks in the town of Minerva, I didn't learn about Adirondack music until I was out of the Army, 25 years old. I came across a collection by the Essex County historian, Marjorie Lansing Porter. She traveled the back roads with a recording machine. It would cut a disc. And the unfortunate part is every time someone played one of those discs, played it back, the quality got worse. 10 times worse than, let's say, playing vinyl and never cleaning it. So I got to hear these recordings in the SUNY Plattsburgh Library, and that collection is there today, and it's been digitized and cleaned up. So head to northern New York, to Plattsburgh, if you want to delve into some Adirondack music. I wanted to share with you a couple of albums that I've come across through the years. Here's Frank Warner put out a collection of 78s, including Adirondack music, and one of them is The Ballad of Blue Mountain Lake. This album was put out in 1946. And the next album of Adirondack music was Pete Seeger. And you see it says Champlain Valley songs. Half of the album is Vermont and half is from the Adirondacks. And he performed on that previous collection of 78s that I showed you. He performed with Frank Warner. And he met Marjorie Lansing Porter and got very interested in music of the Adirondacks. And so did this gentleman, Milt Oken. This came out 3 years later, 1963. His parents had a resort on Scroon Lake, and Milt played the guitar as a young man, and he had his New York City buddies like Pete Seeger and the rest of the Weavers and even Woody Guthrie come up for a weekend in the Adirondacks at his parents' camp and entertain folks, and that's how they got to meet Marjorie and how they came to put out albums like this one in '63. Lawrence Older, same year, 1963, but now instead of interpreters of Adirondack music, we've got people who worked in the woods, like Lawrence Older. He sang and played guitar and played fiddle, and fortunately, I got to meet Lawrence, and we sent cassettes back and forth to each other. 1975, jumping a couple of decades, another person who worked in the woods, Ted Ashlaw. He worked in the woods and he learned these songs firsthand, unlike Milt Oken and Pete Seeger. And then 10 years after that, we go to this guy, Dan Berggren, who put out this album in 1985 with his buddies Dan Duggan, John Kirk, and Mark Facci. And then that was about the end of albums. The next year I put out a cassette. But here's my buddy Chris Shaw, who in '88 put out an album of Adirondack songs. And jump ahead to the year 2020. The albums have shrunk. I've got a CD of all kinds of music, kind of a retrospective of a number of years. 20 albums between my first and my latest, some cassettes, some CDs. So this evening, I'll sing some old favorites and throw in a couple of brand new ones. This past few months, having concerts canceled has put me at home writing and singing new things. So here's a new one called Still My Home. See the rise and fall of the ridge line, hear the valley's voice in the brook. Lessons learned from the landscape, read like an open book. My roots run deep in these mountains for at least a century or so. They've been my support, my foundation, spreading wherever I go. Wherever I go, I will always know. Wherever I roam, this is still my home. Each story my mother told me was rooted in bygone days, filled with heart and humor, lessons in ways to sing praise. Wherever I go, I will always know. Wherever I roam, this is still my home. Whenever my dad would wake me in the middle of the night, we'd stand in awe by the window to witness the northern lights. Wherever I go, I will always know. Wherever I roam, this is still my home. After work, I'd walk to the river and wash off the dirt and sweat, then listen to the forest singing songs I will never forget. Wherever I go, I will always know. Wherever I roam, this is still my home. See the rise and fall of the ridge line, hear the valley's voice in the brook. Lessons learned from the landscape, read like an open book. Wherever I go, I will always know. Wherever I roam, this is still my home. Wherever I go, I will always know. Wherever I roam, this is still my home. In 1975, that same year I discovered Adirondack folk music, thanks to Marjorie Lansing Porter. I worked in the woods with the surveyor, Bill Brannon. A great friend. I learned a lot about life. I learned a lot about surveying. When he passed away a few years ago, I wanted to honor him with a song. That year we spent together in the woods, We never really talked about our ancestors, but I found out that my great-great-grandfather and his great-great-grandfather came over from Ireland about the same time, both settled in the town of Minerva. So to honor him, I wrote a song called The Mayor of Irishtown, which was his nickname. Every St. Patrick's Day, he'd put on a top hat and preside over the road bowling of rutabagas past St. Mary's Church and past the old schoolhouse and the baseball field across the street named Brannan Field. Was it just yesterday in mid-afternoon? We told stories and sang the old tunes, remembering days when we were green, two happier lads you've never seen. Here's to the mayor of Irishtown, sing to his honor, yes, ring out the sound, respecting, protecting this holy ground. Here's to the mayor, here's to the mayor of Irishtown. When we were younger, a lifetime ago, spending the day in sun or in snow, sharing a sandwich beneath a white pine, searching for boundaries and walking the line. Here's to the mayor of Irishtown, sing to his honor, yes, ring out the sound, respecting, protecting this holy ground. Here's to the mayor, here's to the mayor of Irishtown. When black flies were biting, there was no complaint. While teaching this novice, you were a saint. After missions of mercy, helping out friends, we'd lift a pint and toast the day's end. Here's to the mayor of Irishtown, sing to his honor, yes, ring out the sound, respecting, protecting this holy ground. Here's to the mayor, here's to the mayor of Irishtown. There was no hesitation when speaking her mind, but a more gentle soul would be hard to find. Citizen, veteran, husband and dad, sharing the good times, weathering the bad. Here's to the mayor of Irishtown, sing to his honor, yes, ring out the sound, respecting, protecting this holy ground. Here's to the mayor, here's to the mayor of Irishtown. From the Shamrock shore our ancestors came, hard-working farmers with no wealth or fame. They raised potatoes, raised daughters and sons. We were their dreams, yes, we were the ones. Here's to the mayor of Irishtown, sing to his honor, yes, ring out the sound, respecting, protecting this holy ground. Here's to the mayor, here's to the mayor of Irishtown. And a special hello to all my friends in Minerva watching tonight. A history of the Adirondacks in 3 minutes. The Algonquin and the Iroquois, natives of the land, they understood the balance between nature and man. Then the trappers and explorers, long since laid to rest, left us a path to follow to that northern wilderness. Here's to you, all the mountain people, here's to you. Each woman, man, and child, here's to you, who call the Adirondacks your home forever wild. Communities grew up around the military forts, With water travel more secure, some settle lakeside ports. Pioneers from New England, across the lake they came, settled down to farm the western shore of Lake Champlain. Here's to you, all the mountain people, here's to you. Each woman, man, and child, here's to you, who call the Adirondacks your home forever wild. Quebecois and Irish immigrants came here to cut the pine. Others worked the forge and furnace, dug iron ore in the mines. The mining and the lumber brought new roads to carry goods. The railroads and the steamers brought more people to the woods. Here's to you, all the mountain people, here's to you. Each woman, man, and child, here's to you, who call the Adirondacks your home forever wild. The ups and downs throughout the years are seen in every face. You feel the seasons come and go, live a natural pace. That's life in these mountains, just look at history. They were here long before us, and they'll outlast you and me. Here's to you, all the mountain people, here's to you. Each woman, man, and child, here's to you, who call the Adirondacks your home forever wild. Our home forever wild. When I sing that with elementary school children, and when they're studying New York State history, the boys especially like to tack on a little coyote howl on the end of that. Here's to you. I brought a few friends with me. Their spirit, their words, a few poems that I'll sprinkle throughout the evening. The first one is not so much a poem as it is a lesson from a man who taught science and then became a principal, Dr. Robert McNeish of Baltimore. He wrote a piece called Lessons from the Geese. As each goose flaps its wings, it creates an uplift for the bird following. By flying in a V formation, the whole flock adds 71% more flying range than if the bird flew alone. Lesson? People who share a common direction and sense of community can get where they're going quicker and easier because they're traveling on the thrust of one another. Whenever a goose falls out of formation, it suddenly feels the drag and resistance of trying to fly alone and quickly gets back into formation to take advantage of the lifting power of the bird immediately in front. Lesson? If we have as much sense as a goose, we will join in formations with those who are headed where we want to go. When the lead goose gets tired, it rotates back into the formation and another goose flies at the point position. Lesson? It pays to take turns doing the hard tasks and sharing leadership with people. As with the geese, we are interdependent with one another. The geese in formation honk from behind to encourage those up front to keep up their speed. Lesson? We need to make sure that our honking from behind is encouraging and not something less helpful. And finally, when a goose gets sick or wounded or shot down, two geese drop out of formation, follow their fellow member down to help provide protection. They stay with this member of the flock until he or she is either able to fly again or dies. Then they launch out on their own with another formation or catch up with their own flock. The lesson? If we have as much sense as the geese, we'll stand by each other like that. While leaves turn yellow, red and gold, red and gold, red and gold, gather firewood for the cold. Take a drink of autumn, take a drink of autumn. The leaves return to earth below, earth below, earth below, and decompose so more can grow. Smell the season turning, smell the season turning. The pine are guardians of the green, of the green, of the green. They keep a promise in between till winter turns to springtime, till winter turns to spring. The crops are in, the barn is full, barn is full, barn is full. The cows are fat, thick is the wool. Each day is for Thanksgiving, each day is for Thanksgiving. We're in the balance, dark and light, dark and light, dark and light. The time for taking stock is right, and putting things in order, and putting things in order. A flock of geese is flying south, flying south, flying south. A whispered wish escapes my mouth. My heart is flying with them. My heart is flying with them. Well, I know some of you are going to say, Dan, you shouldn't be rushing the season. We got plenty of summer days before it's fall. Yes, but only a week and a half until it's the autumnal equinox. So here's to summer past and fall coming. It's good Glen water. Here's another traditional Adirondack song. It is a song about prohibition and how people were desperate, so desperate to get a drink of something hard that they'd risk life and limb and being arrested. This story is about Bert LaFountain and his Packard. It seems that Cadillacs and Packards, not only were they fast and powerful, but when you took the back seat out, you could stow a lot of booze back there. So they'd go across the border into Canada and load up, and under a cover of darkness, find their way through the Adirondacks. And maybe they had a deal with a farmer who would let them park during the day in their barn, and then the next evening comes, make the rest of the trip to New York City, make their delivery. So this is the story of Bert LaFountain's Packard from the Marjorie Lansing Porter collection. 'Twas on a Sunday morning I headed for the north, the road I often travel while riding back and forth. I crossed the old St. Lawrence, headed straight for Montreal, with Bert LaFountain's Packard for a load of alcohol. Oh me, oh my, why are we dry? Bert LaFountain's Packard had a load of alcohol. Well, I loaded her with liquor, stocked her with wine and ale, get across the border, I knew I must not fail. I was going straight through Merrill, headed for Malone. When word got out ahead of me, 'twas by telephone. Oh me, oh my, why are we dry? Word got out ahead of me, 'twas by telephone. The troopers and immigrationers, to them I paid no heed. I was rolling 80 and putting on the speed. They signaled me with flashlights and ordered me to halt. But I tore right by the customs house with the fountain's alcohol. Oh me, oh my, why are we dry? I tore right by the customs house with the fountain's alcohol. I saw the trooper's barrier and a car across the road. I quickly left the wheel, the Packard and the load. It's now I'm out on bail and I know I've lost it all. I'm waiting for my trial, which is to be this fall. Oh me, oh my, why are we dry? I'm waiting for my trial, which is to be this fall. Oh me, oh my, why are we dry? I'm waiting for my trial, which is to be this fall. There is even, if you're in the Saranac Lake vicinity, you may drive right by Burt LaFountain Road, and it's where he lived. And if you do a Google search for Burt LaFountain, bootlegger, you'll find some interesting stories about, true stories about life in the Adirondacks during that time. So, how's your drink and food situation holding out at home? I'm sorry I won't be giving you too many chances to slip away to the kitchen or the bathroom, unless you want to duck out on a song or in between songs. But I appreciate your tuning in and sharing the news with people. And I sure appreciate the Glen Conservancy doing this. Here's a song that started with one word, and the word, the way Adirondackers say the word, is Tahas. And some people see it spelled T-A-H-A-W-U-S, and they say Tahawas. But most people I know say Tahas. And there's a little village, an abandoned village, where the people who used to work in the mines, the national lead mines in the town of Newcomb, had a community in Tahas, and then they found a big vein underneath that little community, and so they moved the whole community, called it Winebrook Hills, and dug out where those folks used to live. That's one story of Tahas. The other story of Tahas is if you climb to the top of Mount Marcy, the tallest mountain in New York State, you'll see a plaque up at the peak. And it said Mount Marcy, named after Governor Leonard Marcy, New York State, also known as Cloud Splitter or Tahawas. And that in the native wisdom, Tahas means that which cleaves the sky. And so they thought, what better name than for Mount Marcy, the tallest mountain in the Adirondacks, to name it that which cleaves the sky. The only trouble is it was a poet from Western New York who fell in love with the Seneca Nation language, Western New York tribe, and he brought a handful of those words to the Adirondacks and started naming places. And no one really questioned him. So the fact that there's a mountain and referred to as Cloud Splitter or Tahas, and that there was a community named Tahas, is thanks to this poet from Western New York who brought these Seneca words. But I love the fact that that which cleaves the sky not only means physical things like mountains, but in the native tongue, it refers to the truth. There is nothing higher than the truth. The earth is made of water. The earth is made of stone. It's shared by plants and animals. We do not live alone. If we work together, who knows what can be done? As we rise above the timberline, reaching for the sun. Tahas, that's what the natives called it. Tahas, the highest of the high, a mountain that could split the clouds, the wind, the rain, and tide, and rise above the timberline. Some of us learn how to listen, to question and explore, how to do with what we've got instead of seeking more, when to turn the other cheek, when to take a stand, when to rise above the timberline, lend a helping hand. Tahas, that's what the natives called it. Tahas, the highest of the high, a mountain that could split the clouds, the wind, the rain, and tide, and rise above the timberline. There are men and there are women who stand above the rest, when clouds of gloom and sorrow put us to the test. They're strong and they're determined to see the light of day. They rise above the timberline, pointing to the way. Tahas, what the natives called it. Tahas, the highest of the high, a mountain that could split the clouds, the wind, the rain, and tide, and rise above the timberline. There are clouds of hate and anger, clouds of poverty. There are those in clouds of sickness, those who are not free. We need the strength of mountains to see what we can do, to rise above the timberline and split a cloud or two. Tahas, that's what the natives called it. Tahas, the highest of the high, a mountain that could split the clouds, the wind, the rain, and tide, and rise above the timberline, and rise above the timberline.
May I interrupt you for a moment?
Of course, sir.
Just so you know, you're not performing in a vacuum here. There are any number of comments coming in, including.
What are some choice comments?
Kathy Marchick is saying, all of these Adirondack songs are the closest I've been there for a long time. I miss the mountains so much, but the music is bringing me right back there tonight.
Thanks, Kathy.
And Claudia Griffin agrees with that.
Claudia.
Mike Algier says, lovely, playing along in Sarasota. Nancy Squire says, I'll be in the Adirondacks next week. What's the name of the new recording and where can I find it?
Well, funny you should mention. And Mike, my buddy from 1967, we've been friends and down in Sarasota. Thanks for tuning in, Mike. Is this a good, where should I put it, over here? I feel like Johnny Carson when he would put something on the desk so that, yeah, Dan Berggren in concert. This was recorded on my birthday, my 70th birthday at Cafe Lena, and my daughter flew in from California to perform with me. And you can get Tahas and, just found my way back home. Here's to you, life on earth, Tahas, Birch our soprano, one with the water, and other songs that I've written.
Also want to note that Dawn Flynn says, thanks for singing Burt LaFountain's Packard. You made my night.
Dawn and Andy, hi.
There are many, many more comments. I'm just trying to give you some choice ones. And here's one from Jenny Berggren, who says, hi, Granddad, from Sonia.
My love to you. Stay safe out there. Here's a brand new song. the town of Minerva, there are many sections, and they each have names. Some are official, some you can't find on a map. For example, in the town of Minerva, there's Olmstedville. There's the West Side, which not only did the West family live there, but it was the western side of Minerva. Irish Town, Hoffman, Lochmuller. Leonardsville, also known as Pinchgut. And then some in the town of North Creek would claim it, and some in Minerva would claim it. It doesn't have real boundaries. It's Igerna. And I've always wanted to write a song about the girl from Igerna, and here it is. When I was a shanty boy, I roamed from town to town. And where I found a job to do, there I settled down. I hadn't worked the Hudson more than 2 days or 3 when the girl from Igerna cast a spell over me. A spell over me, a spell over me, when the girl from Igerna cast a spell over me. She took me to her kitchen, put on the frying pan, and whispered to her mother, I swear I love this man. I'll bundle up my woolens and prepare to go and roam the wild woods over, wherever he may go. Wherever he may go, wherever he may go, said the girl from Igerna, wherever he may go. And when you see us in the spring, you'll sing out for joy. Here comes our dearest daughter with her shanty boy. Our pockets, they will jingle as we walk hand in hand, ready for to settle down, raise a family on this land. A family on this land, a family on this land, said the girl from Igerna, raise a family on this land. Well, our pockets never jingled, but our bellies, they were full. We had land, a flock of sheep, made sweaters from the wool. Many seasons come and gone since our wedding vows. Our children all have children, and things are different now. Things are different now. Things are different now with the girl from Igerna. Things are different now. So if you'll pay attention, the moral you will know. The lesson that was learned by us, oh, so long ago. You may save your money while you're young, you'll need it when you're old. But a farm and a family are worth their weight in gold. Worth their weight in gold, worth their weight in gold. With the girl from Igerna, they're worth their weight in gold. Another poem to share with you before a song that was inspired by my mother. I always wanted to write a song for my mother. And once I tried one about the pies that she made. whether they were rhubarb or apple, and taking it each step along the way. And I came to a stumbling block. And then I tried making balsam pillows, something she did with her mother, and then she taught me, and I did it with Jenny. And last month, when they were visiting, my granddaughters and I made some balsam pillows, passing that tradition down. So this attempt at a song took a couple of false starts, and finally I put all of these ideas together in one song, especially how much she loved her garden. And I found the perfect poem to go along with it by Unitarian Universalist minister, the late Max Coots up in Canton, New York. He calls this a harvest of people. Let us give thanks for a bounty of people, for generous friends with smiles as bright as their blossoms, for feisty friends as tart as apples, for continuous friends who, like scallions and cucumbers, keep reminding us that we've had them, for crotchety friends as sour as rhubarb and as indestructible, for handsome friends who are as gorgeous as eggplants and as elegant as a row of corn, and the others as plain as potatoes and as good for you, for friends as unpretentious as cabbages, as subtle as summer squash, as persistent as parsley, as endless as zucchini, and who, like parsnips, can be counted on to see you through the winter. For old friends nodding like sunflowers in the evening time, for young friends who wind round us like tendrils and hold us. We give thanks for friends now gone, like gardens past that have been harvested, but who fed us in their times that we might live. See her kneeling at the top of the field, bandana covering her head, picking strawberries the size of a pea, fingertips all stained red, giving thanks for each berry that goes in her pan, thanks for the sunshine, the shortcake and jam. It's moments like this that make her smile, stop what she's doing and pause for a while. It's moments like this when she gives praise for life on earth, life on earth. The sun's beating down, she's dripping with sweat, the back of her neck is red. One taste of tomato tells her it's worth it as she puts the tools back in the shed. She knows a good garden needs weeding for hours, and she loves being surrounded by songbirds and flowers. It's moments like this that make her smile, stop what she's doing and pause for a while. It's moments like this when she gives praise for life on earth, life on earth. Breathing the apple air, straightening her back, she's been sorting the good from the bad. The deer and the bear have eaten their share, for the windfall that's left she's glad. Glad that some of the orchard is still alive, glad for the applesauce, cider, and pies. It's moments like this that make her smile, stop what she's doing and pause for a while. It's moments like this when she gives praise for life on earth. Life on earth. The wood stove takes the chill from the kitchen. Balsam is adding its scent. She's stuffing the pillows with needles she's cut, each one to be mailed as a present. She stitches them closed, stops now and then to think about each of her long-distance friends. It's moments like this that make her smile, stop what she's doing and pause for a while. It's moments like this when she gives praise for life on earth. Life on earth. In the dark of night or the broad light of day, any time's good for prayer. A moment of silence to take it all in, a moment to be aware of all living things under the sun. On this living planet we all are one. It's moments like this that make me smile, stop what I'm doing and pause for a while. It's moments like this when I give praise for life on earth. Life every once in a while, I find a song. Not only do I enjoy it, I think to myself, I wish I'd written that. And a gentleman raised in California and has been living in Europe for decades and decades, Tucker Zimmerman, took the old traditional story of the Taoist who had something good happen and then something bad happen and then something good happens. Some people call this a shaggy dog story, but it goes back the ancient days. The yin and the yang, the good and the bad. Cheers. Once upon a time, a farmer sent his son with a horse to graze upon the mountainside. He fell asleep. When he woke, the horse was gone. Every once in a while, I start a song in the wrong key. And rather than just go with it and realize, I'm never going to be able to hit those notes, I have to stop and start again. Once upon a time, a farmer sent his son with a horse to graze upon the mountainside. He fell asleep. When he woke, the horse was gone. He came back alone, and the neighbors said, "What bad luck," but the farmer said, "How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know?" The very next day, the farmer sent his son back to the mountain to seek his runaway. He found the horse and 7 other wild ones, took them all home, and the neighbors said, "What good luck," but the farmer said, How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? The very next day, the farmer sent a son to the wild horses that needed to be tamed. The first one he climbed on threw him to the ground. It broke his arm, and the neighbors said, "What bad luck," but the farmer said, "How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know?" Very next day, war was declared, and the army came through the countryside, looking for soldiers, but they couldn't take anyone with a broken arm. And the neighbors said, "What good luck," but the farmer said, "How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know?" Thanks for writing that, Tucker Zimmerman. And thanks to any of you who have tuned in late that I didn't get to say hello to before. Here's another new song. Some of you may have seen a version of this on YouTube. I put new verses to Stephen Foster's Hard Times Come Again No More and sing his chorus, but updated the verses, which he wrote in Pittsburgh in 1854 with another pandemic or epidemic, and he saw it was cholera, and 400 people in Pittsburgh alone died, and that's what he was reacting to when he wrote Hard Times Come Again No More. A friend of mine, Kimberly Debus, who's a Unitarian Universalist minister, put some images to the song, and if you go to YouTube and look for Hard Times 2020, you'll find it. Let us pause in this moment and take a look around at the distance between rich and poor. Some have lost their direction, others never to be found. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a child who is praying for shelter from the storm and searching the wall for open doors. But each entrance is guarded by ignorance or fear. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times, come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There are families scattered many miles apart, and some dreams have been washed up on the shore. Whether stranger or loved one, we hold them in our hearts. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times, come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. When it feels like we're reaching the end of our rope, when resolve seems to fly right out the door, we will fortify our spirit with faith, love, and hope. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times, come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. No more. No more. In my vest pocket, I keep this reminder. Some green wool from the sweater that my wife made for me long before she was my wife. We met in 1970. I was in 12th Night, and I was an actor, and she was a costumer. And we just happened to meet and started a relationship, and she made me a sweater for my Christmas present. And I'm still wearing it, and glad we're still together. And I wrote this song because I don't know how to knit. Somebody made this old sweater from 6 or 7 big green balls of yarn. Look how it surrounds me, how it wraps around me, just like being hugged by loving arms. I don't know the name of the farmer. I don't suppose that I ever will. No, I never met him, but I can't forget him. He's the one who raised the sheep and sheared the wool. You know I love my old green sweater. I've worn it for years and it feels good as new. There's just one thing that warms me better. That's your love. That's you. Somebody made this old sweater. You can tell that it wasn't by machine, 'cause every stitch of every row was knitted nice and slow from some wool that was dyed so dark and green. Who took time to clean the fleece and then to card it. I don't suppose that I'll ever know. And who did all the spinning? That was only the beginning, before love was knitted into every row. You know I love my old green sweater, worn it for years and it feels good as new. There's just one thing that warms me better, that's your love, that's you. Some folks have drawers just jammed with sweaters, while other folks have none to keep them warm. Well, I have one that's got your touch, and that's why it means so much. And I'll wear it when it's mended or it's torn. Somebody made this old sweater from 6 or 7 big green balls of yarn. Look how it surrounds me, how it wraps around me, just like being hugged by loving arms. You know I love my old green sweater, worn it for years and it feels good as new. There's just one thing that warms me better, that's your love, that's you. That's the love that made the sweater, that's you.
You have inspired many comments with that song. Karen Bailey says it's a favorite song. Rebecca Richardson seconds that. And Lois Ann Wolf boasts that she has seen the sweater.
Good to hear from you folks. And if we all do the right thing, and that means that's all, the virus will be diminished sooner rather than later. As you know, it touches every aspect of our lives, every aspect of life on earth. Another poem before a song that several people had asked me ahead of time, please do, sitting in your kitchen. And I wanted to, I keep this quote handy. It's by Annie Dillard, and I put it with a photo of a campfire. What shall we sing while the fire burns down? We can sing only specifics, time's rambling tune, the places we have seen, the faces we have known. I love reading Annie Dillard, and I especially love that. But here's a poem written by Joy Harjo. The world begins at a kitchen table. The world begins at a kitchen table. No matter what, we must eat to live. The gifts of earth are brought and prepared, set on the table. So it has been since creation, and it will go on. We chase chickens or dogs away from it. Babies teethe at the corners. They scrape their knees under it. It is here that children are given instructions on what it means to be human. We make men at it. We make women. At this table we gossip, recall enemies and the ghosts of lovers. Our dreams drink coffee with us as they put their arms around our children. They laugh with us at our poor falling down selves, and as we put ourselves back together once again at the table. This table has been a house in the rain, an umbrella in the sun. Wars have begun and ended at this table. It is a place to hide in the shadow of terror, a place to celebrate the terrible victory. We have given birth on this table, and we have prepared our parents for burial here. At this table, we sing with joy, with sorrow. We pray of suffering and remorse. We give thanks. Perhaps the world will end at the kitchen table while we are laughing and crying and eating of the last sweet bite. Sitting in your kitchen, coffee on the table, talking about the morning and singing a song. There's so much we have to do now, so we'd better get a move on, move on. Sitting in your kitchen, the cards are on the table. We're gambling for some high stakes, but nothing to lose. There's so much that we could win now, so we'd better get a move on, move on. Sitting in your kitchen, the cards are on the table. We're gambling for some high stakes, but nothing to lose. There's so much that we could win now, so we'd better get a move on, move Sitting in my kitchen, your letters on the table, telling what you're up to and how you are. Well, I've got a song to sing you, so I'd better get a move on, move on. Sitting in your kitchen, coffee on the table, talking about the morning and singing a song. There's so much we have to do now, so we'd better get a move on, move on. Move on, move on. This might be a good time for my only real commercial in this whole thing, besides telling you that the Arts, Saratoga Arts, provided funding to the Glenn Conservancy so that programs like this could happen. And a lot of volunteers who are with me here tonight who made this possible. So those are the official sponsors. The unofficial sponsor is Sleeping Giant Records. And since 1985, I've put out 20 albums. I have 5 left. That doesn't sound right. Of the 20 albums, 15 of them are no longer available, and 5 still are. My newest is the live album, Dan Berggren in Concert, recorded at Cafe Lena, and an album I did with Dan Duggan called Rooted in the Mountains. And I have lots of tech people to thank for making this possible. Jim Briggs, my son-in-law, and Dave Sturdivant helped produce and engineer this. Here's one I did with a couple of buddies, John Kirk and Chris Shaw, and Ann Downey up in Canada, and Cedar Stanistreet. We made this album of traditional and original Adirondack songs. My other family in Fredonia, the Newton Street Irregulars, the late Steve Warner and Dick and Carmen Gilman and myself had a group. Someone else named us the Newton Street Irregulars because we lived on the odd side of Newton Street in Fredonia. And this album was recorded as a fundraiser album for the 1891 Fredonia Opera House, and I have a few of those left. Jenny Berggren plays on this with John Kirk. Bill Smith is on this, Greg Clark. Here's an album I did with Ed Lauman. It's called This Planet We Call Home. Half of it is environmental and ecological songs, and half songs of the Adirondacks, like The Mayor of Irish Town and such. And Jam Crackers, Dan Duggan, Peggy Lynn. Dan, Peggy, and I only had one concert all summer. That was at Cafe Lena. Usually we hit the road pretty heavy in the summertime making music together, and we will again. This album is called Get Crackin', and it has a number of songs that I've done tonight and ones that we do as a trio. And that's it. Commercial's over. Back to the last few songs. I know some of you have somewhere to go, and if you're in a different time zone, who knows, maybe you're waiting for supper. Thank you, Jenny and Jim and Anea and Sonia for tuning in, and Nancy here in this time zone. Well, the title song of one of those is This Planet We Call Home. How long ago did John Muir say, take care of this planet you roam, care for the land, the water, and the air, care for this place we call home, take care of this planet we call home. The mountains of earth are grand, withstanding geologic power. The mountains of earth know time, using centuries instead of hours. How long ago did Rachel Carson say, take care of this planet you roam, care for the land, the water, and the air, care for this place we call home, take care of this planet we call home. The forests of earth are alive, same elements are within us. The forests of earth know time, using decades instead of minutes. How long ago did Bill McKibben say, take care of this planet we roam, care for the land, the water, and the air, care for this place we call home, take care of this planet we call home. The rivers of earth give us life. Each spring they rise and beckon. The rivers of earth know time, using seasons instead of seconds. How long ago did my conscience say, take care of this planet you roam? Care for the land, the water, and the air. Care for this place we call home. Take care of each other and our home. And Bill McKibben, if you're watching, I hope you're feeling better. A friend of mine called this my Enviro Gospel song. Sinners, are you ready for a little redemption? To receive forgiveness for what we've done? The time has come to break bad habits. It's time to turn to the wind and sun. Just a little more power from above, a little more faith, respect, and love for this old earth, our only home. It may take strength to say no to that power from below, but there's salvation in the power from above. There's a better way than barrels of oil. There's a better way than lumps of coal. If we use our heads and work together, renewable power, that's our goal. Just a little more power from above, a little more faith, respect, and love for this old earth, our only home. It may take strength to say no to that power from below, but there's salvation in the power from above. What will we do for a better world? Get on our knees to hope and pray. Well, that's not enough unless we change. The judgment day is every day. Wars have been fought over who owns what. Lives have been lost and fortunes won. But you and I will someday win, 'cause no one owns the wind or sun. Just a little more power from above, a little more faith, respect, and love for this old earth, our only home. It may take strength to say no to that power from below, but there's salvation in the power from above. Yes, there's salvation in the power from above. Closing in on the last couple of songs. Thanks for sticking with us. Going to do a brand new one. No one has heard this song except Nancy. She gets to hear all my songs first with all their warts, all their problems. And I trust her judgment, because she will never say, oh, that's nice. She will let me know what needs help. Or I don't understand that line in the second verse. What was that? And that's extremely important. That's valuable. That is love. There we go. The earth keeps circling round the sun. Gravity does what it's always done. Up in the morning, sleep at night, hoping everything will turn out right. What you gonna do when the well runs dry? The well runs dry when the well runs dry. What you gonna do when the well runs dry? Nothing but pray for rain. Nothing but pray for rain. Plow the fields, sow the seeds, pray for rain and pull some weeds. Ancient ritual in the spring, you never know what the harvest will bring. What you gonna do when the well runs dry? The well runs dry when the well runs dry. What you gonna do when the well runs dry? Nothing but pray for rain. Nothing but pray for rain. Work every day to stay alive. Do what's necessary to survive. If tomorrow doesn't look bright, we're still gonna put up a fight. What you gonna do when the rain comes down? Rain done dry when the well runs dry. What you gonna do when the well runs dry? Nothing but pray for rain. Nothing but pray for rain. Life goes on year after year in a little piece of the biosphere. Clouds move in and hide the moon. Looks like a storm is coming soon. What you gonna do when the rain comes down? The rain comes down when the rain comes down. What you gonna do when the rain comes down? Head for higher ground. Head for higher ground. What you gonna do when the rain comes down? The rain comes down when the rain comes down. What you gonna do when the rain comes down? Head for higher ground. Head for higher ground. Head for higher ground. Head for higher ground. Time for me to thank some people before a last poem and song. First, the person behind the camera who you did meet, right? Visually met Byron Nilsson and the folks here at Glen Conservancy. Thanks to my Sagamore family. That not only means Emily Martz and the board and the staff, but all the people that I've met through Mountain Music Weekend and Rhodes Scholar programs. We'll be back. Thanks to my St. Lawrence University family, fellow alums and young people I've sung for at the Adirondack semester, where students, 12 students spend a semester living in yurts and having their classes off the grid, completely off the grid, and to all the people I've met in Canton who've made my life, gave me a good life start. My SUNY Fredonia family, colleagues, faculty that I've worked with, administrators, and of course all my former students, alumni. I now am seeing my students, children graduate from high school and get married. Love to you all. My musical family, Ed Lauman, who has played bass with me, Dan Duggan and Peggy Lynn, part of Jam Crackers, John Kirk, Trish Miller, Sarah Milanovic, so many. And then there's my UU family. I sing in the choir in Saratoga and have so many Unitarian friends around the country. And last but not least, my family by blood and by birth and by marriage, watching here, there, and everywhere. I think it's time, almost time for supper in Alameda. So Jenny, Jim, Anea, and Sonia, thank you, love to you. And I'll be home a little later tonight, Nancy. Love to all my family, my brother John, who got me started on the guitar, and Sister Ann, who sang songs to me. The last Last poem here. Anne Alexander Bingham wrote a poem called "It Is Enough." To know that the atoms of my body will remain, to think of them rising through the roots of a great oak, to live in leaves, branches, twigs, perhaps to feed the crimson peony, the blue iris, the broccoli, or rest on water, freeze and thaw with the seasons. Some atoms might become a bit of fluff on the wing of a chickadee. To feel the breeze, know the support of air, and some might drift up and up into space, stardust, returning from whence it came. It is enough to know that as long as there is a universe, I am a part of it. Birch are soprano, balsam are alto, cedar sing tenor with white pine on bass. Birds take the solos, the duets and trios. The wind is conducting to vary the pace. Rhythmic cicada with river polyphony. Woodpecker counterpoint drumming along. 3 moons per season, 4 movements a year. From morning to evening, a never-ending song. From morning to evening, a never-ending song. Birch are soprano, balsam or alto, cedar sing tenor with white pine on bass. Birds take the solos, the duets and trios. Wind is conducting to vary the pace. Rhythmic cicada with river polyphony. Woodpecker counterpoint drumming along. 3 moons per season, 4 movements a year. From morning to evening, a never-ending song. From morning to evening, a never-ending song. With each word that I speak, every answer that I seek, whether I am strong or weak, when I occupy this moment, I occupy this world. Every stumble toward the goal builds the body, mind, and soul. I am part of the whole. When I occupy this moment, I occupy this world. With each step that you take, every second you're awake, lessons learned from mistakes. When you occupy this moment, you occupy this world. Every journey, short or long, with each right that trumps a wrong, you can feel you belong. When you occupy this moment, you occupy this world. With each breath until we die, every question asking why, and each challenge that we try. When we occupy this moment, we occupy this world. Every gift that we bring, each idea that takes wing, every song that we sing. When we occupy this moment, we occupy this world. Every stumble toward the goal builds the body, mind, and soul. I am part of the whole. When I occupy this moment, I occupy this world. When you occupy this moment, you occupy this world. When we occupy this moment, we occupy this world. Thank you. Good night.
You've been showered with love. The messages are flowing fast and furious here. Not furious, fast and quite loving. I'd like to point out that, first of all, thank you to Dan so much for coming back after all these years. Had this concert taken place in person, had you been here at the hall, we would have shaken you down at the door for an admission fee, and then we would have plied you with comestibles, sweet and savory, until you'd be emptying your wallet with a complete lack of resistance. There is a virtual way of doing that, which is now popped onto your screen. You can make a donation to a Venmo at Glenn Conservancy. PayPal is, well, that's my address, byron@banilson.com. I'm trying to get a PayPal account going for Glenn Conservancy, but they want Glenn to show his driver's license, and I haven't quite figured out how to do that. So
Mr.
anyway,
Mr. and Mrs. Conservancy haven't allowed that.
that's right, exactly. So there's that, and as anything you donate will go to the hall and to further concerts like this. Speaking of further concerts like this, we do have another one on tap, and that will be an appearance by Useless Cans. They are a sort of folk gypsy swing jazz trio, channeling the spirit of Django Reinhardt, among others. A fantastic group who will take to the stage here, and that's on at 7:30 p.m. Saturday, October 3rd. So I hope you'll tune in here for Useless Cans. And once again, I want to bid a good night to Dan. I'm going to put you back on camera so you can have the last word.
Good night. Love to.